Hi, I'm Alexandra Helm, and I'd like to take a few moments to explain what I believe is the importance of social intelligence with regard to leadership. I'd like to give a little bit of an overview and then present a case study and further bring in a video from Dan Goleman, who gave an interview to the Harvard Business Review in 2008, and then do a little follow up. Social intelligence is something like emotional intelligence in that it's the additional tier. You start with emotional intelligence. When you talk about that, you think about how people manage their emotions, how they are able to identify them and deal with them in a reasonable fashion, to be able to motivate themselves and to be able to be empathetic with others and to be able to basically go about their way in the world in a very productive fashion. And social intelligence brings in the people aspect in terms of being able to work effectively with people, to empathize with them, to really listen to their needs and be able to complete goals by interacting with your peers, subordinates, anyone in a very intelligent, socially intelligent manner. The case study is concerning a nonprofit organization whose president has had some personal issues come up outside of his control, and the executive board has felt that it would be best if the president-elect took on more of the responsibilities at this time. So the president-elect spoke to each member of the board individually. I come by this knowledge after the fact, but I am a member of the nonprofit organization, so I am privy to this information. And what happened was the president-elect approached the president and suggested that they take on more of the reins of leadership, but not doing anything formal with regard to changing the reporting structure necessarily, but kind of doing it very subtly. And the president had on at least two occasions indicated that he would take himself out of the position of president if he did not feel that he was really making a contribution. So when the president-elect proposed they take on more responsibility, the president said that he didn't feel that that was necessary, that he would be the one to make that call, and essentially that was the end of the conversation. So it was almost as if the conversation never happened. But when you look at this scenario, you see that the president-elect was trying to be empathetic. This the president's been having been under great stress, personal crises happening that he is trying to manage, and so what was not asked by the president, and which was huge in terms of why the president-elect was even suggesting that he step aside or at least let go of some of the responsibilities, is that she already knew that the board was supportive of this, and he never asked that question. I don't know if he thought that she perhaps had decided to do this on her own, but clearly some questions weren't asked. So now I'd kind of like to sum this up by using Dan Goleman's, a snippet of Dan Goleman's interview to kind of give you his perspective on social intelligence and how it affects leadership. And then I'll be back very briefly to wrap up.
Leaders who don't have that natural born instinct, how can they use your insights on emotional and social intelligence in order to improve their leadership expertise?
Well, first of all, for leadership, it's social intelligence that our data is showing counts the most. Social intelligence is being able to tune into other people, to read them, to know how they're thinking about things, what they're feeling right now, and using that to communicate effectively with them. And the good news is that even though we learn our habits, for example, what kind of listener are you? We learn those early in life. We can change them at any point if we're motivated, if we know what to do, and if we have a little help. So there's an easy 5-step process, basically, for enhancing social intelligence abilities in a leader. First, the question to ask yourself is, do you care? Are you motivated? Because it's going to take a little effort. Second, get some feedback. It's not, you're actually probably the worst person to judge where you need to improve. You need to ask the people around you in a way where they can be candid, they can be honest, and that's often with a 360 device where they anonymously rate you. You don't know who said it, but you're getting the truth. You look at that profile and you identify your strengths, your weaknesses, where I can get better, where can I get a bump. Then you make a learning agreement with yourself to do it in the better way at every naturally occurring opportunity. If you do that for a few months, you see real change.
So how can a company...
I support Dan Goleman's premise that social intelligence can positively affect leadership abilities. And the only way that can happen is if an individual seeks feedback from others to determine exactly what needs to be improved in terms of their leadership abilities. Leadership abilities, of course, and social intelligence most definitely are going to be critical as we move through the digital age. And like anything else, the social intelligence skills are really learned habits. And so even though it may be a challenge, it simply replaces another habit. With practice, social intelligence can definitely be improved. And now I bid you adieu and leave you with the immortal words of Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, whose creator, George Lucas, supported emotional intelligence in education and believed it definitely was part of one's own personal power. See you on YouTube.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.